Vindicated, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, yes. I have been vindicated. Jonathan Majors is now being sued. Why? Because he did that interview that I said he shouldn't be doing. Remember? Remember that daytime talk show interview thing that he sat down, spoke about after his conviction, and I said, this is a real bad idea? This is a real bad idea. And people were like, that's because you're racist. And I'm like, no, it's a bad idea. Nothing good comes from these things. Nothing good at all. Well, now he's being sued. For defamation. Assault and battery. There you go. So I've been vindicated. Shall we have a look? Yes, we shall. Hit subscribe if you're newer. Turn the bell notifications on. Follow me over on Twitter. Why? Because if you don't get notifications here, and you want notifications, Twitter. I share stuff on Twitter. So go over there. But anyway, this whole Jonathan Majors situation, let's pull up the article. It has been an ongoing saga. It's been a bit of a shit show, basically. Now, whether you agree or disagree, right? He was convicted. He was found guilty. And if you're then going to come out and basically deny it all again, I mean, expect some, you know, litigious ramifications of that. And it's not a good look either, you know, because when you're trying to heal your image, I think it's important to stay out of the public for a little while. Coming out and just denying it all never really goes that well, quite frankly. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm changing the focus on the camera. But anyway, so here we go. The lawsuit details allegations of physical violence that date back to 2022. And also defamation, as Majors continues to proclaim his innocence in the earlier criminal case. So, yeah, it's just not... I will say this. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. But what I can ascertain from this is the conviction of Jonathan Majors is what has spurred on this lawsuit, as well as his claims as well. Because this opens the floodgates. There's a precedent there, a legal precedent. It also gives the claimant, Grace Jabari, I guess, a little bit more confidence. But these things never go well. And FYI, you know, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I know how you do to remedy your image and stuff like that. I don't know if you could remedy your image. I certainly don't think an interview where you deny it all is going to heal your image that well. Obviously not admitting to it either. That's not good either. But you're kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't in this scenario. You know, you could just do what some other actors do where you just lay low. A lot of actors just lay low and people just forget. Right? They just forget. I mean, well, some people forget stuff. Not everyone. But we have this. So, fallout from a New York jury's conviction of Jonathan Majors for misdemeanor reckless assault and harassment has erupted in a lawsuit against the actor from ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari, who claims that she alerted Majors' management team of abuse in 2021. That's interesting. One would believe that one would hope and believe that there would be evidence which backs up these claims. So I wonder what will be allowed in this that wasn't allowed in the previous trial, which will be interesting. And is also, as well, just a side note, this is another opportunity for him to clear his name, actually. There are two sides to this. This is another opportunity for him to clear his name. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. If this is public trial, that'll be fascinating. We'll watch that here on the channel and we'll do videos on it. But this is another chance for him to clear his name. So we'll see what sort of comes to light evidence-wise. But this is not a slam dunk that he's going to get convicted again. If he's got evidence to the contrary, then he can present it, can't he? So Jabari in a lawsuit filed on Tuesday in New York federal court, and it brings claims for battery, assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, malicious prosecution and defamation, which arises from Majors denying that he abused the professional dancer and movement coach leading up to and after his conviction. She accuses Majors of subjecting her to a pattern of pervasive domestic abuse that began in 2021 and extended through 2023, detailing several instances of alleged physical violence. So in a statement, Priya Chowdhury, a lawyer for the actor, said, and I quote, "This is no surprise, Mr. Majors is preparing counterclaims against Ms. Jabari." I mean, it's not a surprise anyway, because there's one conviction. Why can't she go for 2? It makes sense. But again, counterclaims could work. We'll have to see. There's a lot of stuff that could happen here. Counterclaims, he could clear his name here. It's another avenue to present new evidence, if he's got any. So Jabari, who met Majors in 2021 on the set of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, claims that the alleged abuse escalated to assault in 2022 when Majors attacked her, and I quote, causing serious injuries to her body. So according to the suit, on September 20th, 2022, after an earlier largely verbal fight, Majors pushed Grace so hard that it bruised her backside. Pushed... what? Bruised her ass? Did she fall down, did she? Picked Grace up in the air and threw her against the hood of a car and brought Grace back into their house and held his hands around her neck, stating that he wanted to kill her and that he was going to kill her. Majors then started hitting Grace's head against the marble floor while strangling her until she felt she could no longer breathe. I mean, that's pretty crazy. If true, that's pretty crazy. That's a massive claim. Jabari said she later wanted to seek medical treatment for this incident, but alleges she was dissuaded by Majors, who said via text, "They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie, and they suspect something," which we've actually seen those text messages. So the text about the alleged incident came up as part of Majors' criminal trial, though any alleged incident preceding it was not discussed. Jurors were instructed to view this as past instances of alleged abuse as background information, rather than evidence of propensity to commit a crime. While many of the incidents in the civil suit were alluded to by Jabari as part of the criminal trial, she was largely only able to speak to the alleged emotional abuse surrounding them, rather than any claims of physical violence. So Tuesday's suit sheds light on some of the alleged physical abuse, which escalated in August 2022 when the pair moved together in London. It says this: in September 2022, Majors again became upset and began verbally assaulting Grace while chasing her around the home, states the complaint. When he was finally able to corner her on the bed, Majors raised his fist over her as she cowered, protecting her face with her hands. On this occasion, Majors did not physically strike Grace. He obtained control over himself and left the property as Grace locked herself in a bedroom for safety. There's an incident in 2023 January, and says that Majors was furious at Grace for betraying him and telling a member of his team that he had physically assaulted her. And in the new suit, Jabari echoes comments made during the criminal trial and says Majors would threaten suicide in response to Grace's attempts to understand why Majors became physically violent with her in the aftermath, and to manipulate Grace away from going to the hospital or reporting the violence to authorities. Again, it's stuff that we've seen before. So after his arrest, Majors embarked on a media tour intending to undermine the jury verdict. He claimed he was completely innocent, probably the victim, did not assault her whatsoever. This woman was having an emotional crisis for which he was taken to hospital. And he never laid his hands on the woman. This was an ABC News interview. And this is why I said this is a bad... It's bad. You don't do that. You don't do this weird tour. It doesn't work. Now, the suit alleges that Majors' intention was not only to cause many people to believe Jabari was a liar, but also to cause those people to lash out, harass, intimidate, and bully Jabari. Majors also intended his defamatory statements to adversely affect Jabari's career. The suit calls this a truly desperate attempt to discredit his victim before the trial. Consistent with his pattern of intimidating Grace, Majors filed the knowingly false criminal complaint and immediately disseminated the news to national and international media outlets in an effort to use his fame to cause the public to lash out against Grace and inflict on Grace extreme emotional distress. I mean, there's more. There's so much here. In June 2022, Majors continued to exhibit controlling behaviour while Grace was out of town and unable to comply with his demands. The trip ended with Majors requiring Grace to promise that she would never go anywhere again where she was not available for him to reach her at all times, and so began a lengthy pattern of defendant Majors' domestic violence and abusive behaviour towards Grace. And she's seeking 75 grand plus punitive damages. Not a lot, actually, to be fair. So for those thinking that this is a massive cash grab, that's not a lot. 75 grand and punitive damages. Not a ton. But this is another opportunity, by the way, for him to clear his name. So this could be good for him, actually. But I'm vindicated in the way that I say these pity tools don't work. They're a bad idea. What do you think? Thoughts down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.